Yo, what's going on, man? Today is March the 18th, 2024. It's your boy Chris, and this is the ChrisBeCappinn NBA show where we're live on Twitter. We're also live on YouTube as well, man. Y'all do me a favor and yeah, check out the morning show, man. A lot of the times now I feel like the lines are moving. I gave out, a couple I gave out a couple things I was looking to play, and then one solid bet that I had actually gave out to the members last night. So definitely make sure you subscribe so you can catch the morning show if you guys haven't already. These evening shows, a lot of the times the lines have moved and really done, just for, if we got a lot of injury implications and, things kind of change throughout the day. So we're just going to jump right into it for today, man. It's a few spots on the board that I do like. Bet that I haven't placed yet that I'm very close to placing. And one bet that I really want to get to the window with that I haven't placed yet. So let's jump right into it for today. Over the weekend, I did do not so good. Well, I took Saturday off. Yesterday I went 1-2. Orlando failed to go over their team total. And then I jumped on Phoenix and Milwaukee live under 253.5 at halftime. And I talked about it early this morning, but Phoenix gave up a ton of points in the first half. I think they gave up 80. They gave up 60 in the second half. I thought the defense would at least come to play a little bit, not be embarrassed like they were, but yeah, the under didn't cash yesterday. We did get San Antonio money line right, though. So 1-2 day yesterday, lost about a half unit there and looking to get back on track for the week. So first game up, we got the Cleveland Cavaliers. They will be in Indiana today, getting 6.5 points. This line opened at 8, down to 7.5 and down to 6.5 now. So people thinking Cleveland can keep this game competitive, even without Donovan Mitchell, even without Max Strus, and Dean Wade is also listed as doubtful. I want to check real quick and just see if Dean Wade has actually been ruled out. I see him as unlikely to play, so he is listed doubtful, but it doesn't look like he's been ruled out yet. He was a big part of it for me, man. I kind of feel like I watched Cleveland get smoked against the Houston Rockets the other day, and you could say it maybe was a one-off type thing, but I watched Cleveland, and I can't necessarily trust their defense without those three guys specifically. Dean Wade means a lot to their defense. Of course, Donovan Mitchell means a lot to their defense, and Max Strus means a lot to their defense as well. So to me, it feels like they're losing too many pieces here. Now, do I want to lay points with the Indiana Pacers? Absolutely not. This will be the last game of a 3-game homestand for them. They only have 1 day's rest, and the Cleveland Cavaliers are a tad bit more rested in this spot as well. It feels like a game Cleveland should bounce back in, but not anything that I felt like super sharp about betting. So I didn't bet this one. I would lean towards Cleveland early. I think Cleveland have to give some kind of maximum effort early. We've seen the Pacers struggle to start games and then kind of pick it up late. I think back to the game that they just played against Orlando. I think back to just a few games that they played in the most recent past. So I think if you like Cleveland, you might want to get in early in this one. Because the Pacers do have enough offense to be able to run this Cavaliers team, this version of the Cavaliers team, off the floor, in my opinion. So I'm not playing the game, but I would look towards Cleveland early, just thinking that they bounce back off a super flat spot in their last game. That's how I would look to play this one. Let's go to the comments real quick and see what you guys are thinking. Kenneth says, yo, let's get it. Appreciate you for tapping in, Kenneth. What's up, Tasha? El Boogie says, happy Monday. Let's get some money. Like it up. Appreciate you. Tasha says she was number 1. What up, AOD? He says, Crispy goated. He says, smash the like button. What's up to my guy, Daniel? He says, I got a horrible team that's going to cash for us tonight. I already know who you're talking about, Daniel. I can guarantee you talking about probably talking about the Jazz. I talked about it on the morning show. I can't quite get there with Utah, but we'll get there, man. Who they likes, he says, what's up, Chris? What's up, Who they? Appreciate you for tapping in as well. Yeah, so in this game, like I said, if I like Cleveland, I think I get there early. I think the Pacers can cover this game. I also can see Cleveland covering the game as well, but I can't trust Cleveland's defense, in my opinion, without Dean Wade, without Donovan Mitchell, without Evan Mobley, and without Max Strus. So if Dean Wade plays, I'd be a little bit more likely to play Cleveland. But I did look into the defensive metrics, man. With Gorgeous Niang out there at power forward, boy, you talking about a defense that falls off. Gorgeous Niang is not a defender at all. He's playing big minutes with the injuries to Dean Wade, if Dean Wade doesn't play, and to Evan Mobley. So I know it's not that simple just to say, that Gorgeous Niang getting cooked is going to be that, big of a factor, but it could potentially. So yeah, I like I said, if I like Cleveland, I play them early. That's the way I would look towards in this game. Next game up, let's keep it pushing. Get through the show pretty quickly. Next game, we got the Detroit Pistons and the Boston Celtics. Not a game I'm super interested in betting. I did update the line. It was at 16. Money come in on Boston. I'm sorry, money come in on Detroit. Push it down to 15 and a half. And there's a lot of injuries on the injury report in this one. This one where you kind of got to wait. So I'm not going to dive too much into it. Cade Cunningham tossed up the play. Fontecchio also game time decision tossed up the play. If they don't have those two guys, especially with Sir Thompson and Quentin Grimes already ruled out, I think Detroit really going to struggle to score. Like they might not touch 85, 90 points. This Boston defense is really, really good. Even when they're playing against teams that play with a lot of pace, like the Washington Wizards. Wizards still went under their team total yesterday. Detroit has been bottom 5 offensively in pretty much all the categories. On the opposite side, though, Boston still got all those guys listed as questionable as well. So they are resting out Horford. Drew Holiday will rest. Sam Hauser's listed as out. But Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Porzingis all listed as questionable for this game. It looks like Porzingis is going to play. He's listed as probable. So both teams on the second leg of a back-to-back. Boston does have a big game against Milwaukee coming up. And like I said, Detroit, second leg of a back-to-back, third game in 4 nights, and the first road game after 6 straight home games. Boston first half continues to cash. I think that could be, a look. I know that the number's probably like 8.5, 9.5, but if they really wanted to get this Detroit team out of the way, they absolutely could in this one. So, like I said, wait on the injury report. Not a game that I'm interested in betting. Remember, Detroit they were almost the first team to beat Boston at home earlier this season. Boston was able to squeak out a win in overtime earlier this season to keep that home streak alive, that home winning streak alive. But not a game I'm super interested in betting here. Let's keep it pushing. Next game up, and I don't even see nobody wrote anything in the chat, so I guess people not really willing to bet that game. Next game up, we got the Miami Heat versus the Philadelphia 76ers. So injury implications as far as like in comparison to doing the morning show, Jimmy Butler is still listed as questionable for this game. And I talked about, if you guys watched the morning show, I talked about it. When Spoelstra listed him out yesterday, he said that he was kind of day-to-day. They were going to just see how things go. And I kind of looked ahead and was like, oh, I think they play Philly tomorrow. It probably makes more sense for him to play in the Philly game. You don't have Tyler Hero. Jovic also missed yesterday, and Kevin Love remains out. Jovic is also going to miss today. On the Philly side, you got Tobias Harris listed as game time decision. He's a toss-up to play. Didn't participate in shoot-around. I think that's what kind of brought the money in on this one. Miami actually opened as 4.5-point dogs. And I was looking at the line like, that's a little – I saw that 4.5 yesterday. I said, that's a little suspect. I saw it on Bet365. So, man, Philly landed a tad bit too many points. So we hopped on the team total under, and we've gotten a lot of CLV. I'm not sure if it means anything. We'll see if the play cashes. But I was just looking at this yesterday like, why is Philly team total so high? Now, granted, 109 is not a lot of points, but against this Miami defense, it is. Miami's been excellent on the second leg of back-to-backs. They've been excellent on the road specifically. I got Miami as 5-3 straight up and 6-2 against the spread on the road after the All-Star break. They're also 6-1 to the under when they're unrested on the season. Giving up just 104.7 points per game. They've actually held all 8 of their opponents under their team total on the second leg. I'm sorry, in road games since the All-Star break. And then I also got Miami. They're 2-0 to the under when they're unrested after the All-Star break. They only gave up 96 to Portland and 107 to Philly. So I know that this team total has dropped some. And you look at Philly conversely on the offensive side, they're the 4th worst offense as far as points scored per 100 possessions. They rank dead last in effective field goal percentage as well. And I talked about this morning, but from an X's and O's perspective, Philly they don't have shots that they really are really working for them. They're not shooting the ball well at all. They rank 14th in rim frequency, but you got a Miami team that's second in opponent rim accuracy. I'm sorry, that's second in opponent rim frequency. So Miami not allowing teams to shoot a lot of shots at the rim, more so from the 3-point line. Miami also 8th in opponent rim accuracy, so they're doing a really good job protecting the rim since the All-Star break. Philly also 7th in above the break 3-point frequency, but Miami's also 7th in opponent 3-point accuracy above the break. So All of the things that Philly has done well, Miami's kind of done a really good job at as well. And all of those things kind of talk me into playing this Philly team total under a little bit more than I like anything else. Miami also attempting the fifth most threes, corner threes, and Philly is actually allowing the third highest percentage from the corner three during that time frame. So I think, Philly is in a spot where I think Miami can win the game. I'm kind of upset I didn't double play this one because we got the team total of 108.5 last night, and I think it's down to 104.5 now. I think that number is a little bit more appropriate, but I do feel like Miami has a chance to win this game. And as you see, they flipped from 4.5-point dogs to 1.5-point favorites, which is super crazy to me. I did see that Embiid, first day back at practice for the Philadelphia 76ers since he got hurt in January. Of course, he's not due to play anytime soon, but he is back with the team. Let's see what you guys are thinking here. What up to my guy Tariq? Vaughn says he took Boston first half, team total over 59.5. This was something that I was thinking about earlier, Vaughn, when I was driving. I'm glad you mentioned this. I think Boston can score as many points as they want to tonight. You look at Detroit, they are one of the faster paced teams in the league. The only thing that scares me a tad bit is, and I'll reevaluate once I know who's playing for Detroit, but Boston team totals over. Boston first quarter, first half, and full game team total over. More so probably first quarter and first half is the way I would look. Kind of staying away from the spread, but this Boston team is, man, they're really hitting on all cylinders. I could give you guys all the boring numbers that go behind it, but top three in pretty much every offensive statistical category outside of getting offensive rebounds, but they're really, really good. So I could not talk you off, Vaughn. They could score 60 points in their sleep if they want to tonight in the first half specifically. Estai says he got 3-unit play on the Miami Heat money line today. I like it, Estai. I would be riding with you. Like I said, I like that team total a little bit more yesterday. So that's the way I chose to play. I probably should have played both, though. I thought 4.5 was too many. By the time I was going to give it out, by the time I capped it and looked a little bit deeper into it, it had moved to 4. Then 3.5 popped up really quick. And now it's, like I said, it's flipped all the way to 1.5. So, if I go back in time, I probably would have got the 4.5 yesterday around this time. What's up to my guy, Jose? JT says, Chris, only NBA play for the day. He liked Cleveland plus the 6.5. Okay. Best of luck to you, JT. I did not get involved in that game. Estai says 10-2 on the road for Miami. Miami has owned the 76ers, even without Jimmy Butler. Tasha says she could only get involved if only without Embiid. What else? SK says Kyle Lowry revenge game. Definitely got a point to prove. He likes his points and assists over 12.5. I can see this. Just because they're so thin right now. And Kyle Lowry's been playing big minutes, so I couldn't talk you off. Vaughn says can only lean full game under. We'll take a closer look at Philly team total to go under as well. They've been struggling to score, and I would agree there. Already played it. S. Dot says 6-1 in recent form, in recent memory against the 76ers, with or without Embiid. Also, Jimmy Butler being Jimmy being out is an issue. Yeah, Jimmy likes playing in Philly too. We know how that. We know the whole Tobias Harris and Jimmy Butler feud. Ido says, if I had to choose 2 spread locks, what would you guys recommend? So no such thing as locks. Ido, like anything can happen in the NBA. I think it's first and foremost. If that was the case, I probably put a lot more money on my bets if I thought something was a lock. But the 2 best spreads I think on the board right now are, in my opinion anyway, are probably this Miami spread. I would lay the 1.5 with Miami, even though they opened as 4.5-point favorites. And then the second one, man, the second one is tough. I don't like a lot of the spreads today, clearly. I'm not sure. Maybe Cleveland plus the 6.5 is probably something I feel most comfortable with betting. I think Golden State numbers gotten too big at 6.5, but we'll get to the rest of the games. We'll definitely get to the rest of the games. I'm sorry. It'd be my second favorite spread on the board would be Portland plus the 8.5. This number is 8.5 now. I would check the injury report though. Tasha says she took Miami last night. Tariq says Miami in the under. Tasha says, Chris, I always say you can't bet against Boston. And that's a fact, man. Don't bet against Boston. You either play Boston or you stay off of the game. And they probably gonna smack the Bucks up on Wednesday too. Bond says Philly only scoring 104 points at home since the All-Star break. I think you went over this, but that's low as hell. And that's what I saw yesterday. That's why I kind of liked it. Futon likes the Heat on the money line. Estai says, I'm pretty sure Jimmy plays. This is a game Miami can't lose. I would agree with all that, man. JS Brown says, lean in Celtics first quarter over 29.5. It's hit 9 of the last 10. Damn, that's a strong number right there, JS. I like it. Dustin and Jamie says Jazz cover tonight. Yeah, I talked about that Jazz game. We'll get there in a second. Tasha says Miami, Warriors, and Boston is who she like. What up to my guy Freemons? Larry says, hey Chris, give me what is your very best bet today for a full game with the point spread and the full game with the under and over. Thanks, buddy. Larry, you just got to listen. I'm going over all the games. So I told you what I like the most. Cleveland, Indiana, I'll be looking at Cleveland early. Not touching the total because it's two teams that play different style pace. Detroit, Boston, you got to wait till the injury news comes in. Miami and Philly, I would lay the 1.5 points, even though you're getting the worst of the line here, maybe even a money line. If you want to drink a little bit of the juice and just take, I do think Miami can win this game even on the second leg of a back-to-back. And like I said, I took their team total at 108.5 last night, sent it out to the members, but that number has moved to 104.5 now. Tariq says Porter Jr. looked and Middleton looked good yesterday. And Jim says not sending a super chat. Damn, Larry. All right, so let's get back into it. Next game up, we got to get through the rest of these. Next one up, we got the Portland Trail Blazers and the Chicago Bulls. This was a game I talked about earlier this morning. I think, the injury report is key in this game, in my opinion. Portland has looked bad, but I'm not laying 8 points with the Chicago Bulls at home, probably against anybody, especially if they have equal rest. And this Portland team just lost, but they were competitive in the first half against the Pelicans the other day. I watched that. Chicago Bulls is not a team that I feel like should be laying this many points, especially without Kobe White. He is listed game time decision. He was listed as doubtful. And I saw the money come in on Chicago, and I'm like, I must be missing something. Maybe Kobe White's going to play. But he's still listed as doubtful with that hip injury, of course. He didn't play against the Wizards, and they didn't really need him because Ayo DeSumo had a career day. I think he had 34 points in that game. And then you got Caruso listed as questionable as well. Where's the offense going to come for the Bulls to win by 8 points? Now, Portland has not been the greatest defensive team as of late. Last 2 weeks, I got Portland at 27th defensively, giving up about 121.1 points per 100 possessions. But this Chicago Bulls offense hasn't been that great. And if you're taking away those two guys, there's no way I can lay that many points here. I think Portland can keep this one close. I didn't play it, but I think that they do have a couple of advantages in this game. First of all, it's the rebounding advantage. Like, this is a really good rebounding team here for the Portland Trail Blazers. I got them as fourth over the last about 8 games, last 2 weeks. And Chicago giving up the third most offensive rebounds over the last 2 weeks. So Aiden should be able to have a really big game. It may just be a play on Aiden rebounds as well versus Vucevic. This, like I said, not a game that I got to the window with, but it'd be Chicago or nothing for me here. I'm sorry, it'd be Portland or nothing for me here. Just kind of really wanting to wait and see what happens to the lines after the injury news come out. But if Caruso and Kobe White get ruled out, which I don't think either one of those guys are going to play, honestly. It's a non-conference game. Granted, Chicago needs all the wins, and they potentially could win the game without him. I only be able to take the points with Portland here. You can get an 8.5 out there too. So I know that this number opened at like 6.5, and it got better all the way up to 8.5 now. But it for me, even with Portland being shorthanded, that's the only way I would be able to look in this game. They still have Simons. Blanton has been balling for them. And you still got Aiden too. Dama Ayton. He's been cooking lately. So that's the way I would look in this one. Let's see what the chat says here. Jermaine says Kobe White was present at shoot around. Doesn't always mean you're gonna play though, Jermaine. And he could potentially play. I'm interested to see how he looks today. Tasha says no Boston first half and full Detroit got injuries. She likes the Boston team total over 119.5, and they could absolutely get there as well. I don't know if they'll need to get there if Cade doesn't play though. Like I think Detroit's offense could really struggle without Cade, to the point where Boston would need to score 120 points. Vaughn says he played on Aiden rebounds with Boston money line. He says he got it at -110. What was the number, Vaughn? Probably 12.5. What was the number for Aiden? I'm interested. All right, while you find that for me, I'll keep it pushing. Going to the next game, we got the Timberwolves and the Jazz. This was a game that I told you guys. If you listen to the morning show, I said, man, I can't bet the Minnesota Timberwolves, but I don't want to take the points with the Utah Jazz. And people took the points. When I was making these lines earlier this morning, this line was at 8 in favor of the Timberwolves, and now it's all the way down to 5.5. Real quick, let me just check the injury report, make sure, because Minnesota did have some guys listed as questionable, and it looks like Kyle Anderson still tossed up to play. Rudy Gobert still a toss up to play. Monte Morris also still a toss up to play. And on the opposite side, you got Lauri Markkanen. I talked about this morning. He's been upgraded to questionable with that quad injury. He hasn't played, I think, in the last 4 or 5 games. Also, you got Jordan Clarkson still listed as out. So I talked about the spot for the Timberwolves, and that's the reason why I couldn't quite get there with them. But the Jazz are so bad, I can't take the points with them either. At this, the way that the line is coming down, I actually look towards Minnesota to be able to cover this 5.5. The Jazz have just been that bad recently. I know that they got a win against the Atlanta Hawks, but if Rudy Gobert plays, I think this game is going to go under, and I think the Jazz probably could get smoked in this game. But you do have Monte Morris, Kyle Anderson, and Rudy Gobert all still listed as questionable. Here's the spot for Minnesota. Last game of a 6-game road trip, first leg of a back-to-back, and they got the Denver Nuggets on deck for tomorrow. Then they play Cleveland, and they play Golden State. But Utah, they haven't had to travel at all. 4th straight home game. And they do play in OKC on Wednesday to end that 4-game road trip. Minnesota has won the last 4 games, and they've covered 3 of the last 4 spreads. I think Minnesota could still smoke this Utah Jazz team. Of course, it depends because you still got all the injury news. And I'm one of those guys. If you guys have been around for long enough, you know that I like giving bets out after all the smoke is kind of settled and cleared with the injury report. Because if Rudy Gobert gets ruled in and Lauri Markkanen gets ruled out, I think that changes a lot in this game. But if Lauri Markkanen gets ruled out and Rudy Gobert gets ruled in, that's also going to change a lot. So I do think you kind of got to, at least in my opinion, you got to wait, in my opinion. The Timberwolves are far better than the Utah Jazz. This is not an even matchup. However, spot does not bode well for the Timberwolves here. I could definitely see them being an immature team. Looking over this Jazz, I said this morning, looking over this Jazz team because they got a big game against the Denver Nuggets for number 1 seeding in the Western Conference on the line. So I chose to stay off of the game. I think it's a game where you potentially wait on the injury report. But if Kyle Anderson, Monte Morris, and Rudy Gobert all play, I think the Timberwolves can win this game by 10 points. Utah, they'll definitely need Lauri Markkanen, especially with no Jordan Clarkson being there. You really see their offense kind of run out of gas late in that 4th quarter. I think the Timberwolves outscored them like 38 to like 16 or something like that. And I could see something like that happening again if the Timberwolves wanted to put their foot on the throats of this Utah Jazz team early. So not a game that I got involved in, but with the number coming down to 5.5, I think I look Timberwolves. I don't think this is a winnable game for the Jazz. I think the Timberwolves can win this game by multiple possessions. Let's see what you guys are seeing here. Tasha says, I'm not trusting Lakers -9. Like that Lakers team total over 117. We're going to get to that game in a second, Tasha, but I'm right there with you. What's up, my guy Malik? He says, I'm not touching this game, and I damn near don't want to watch it. Derek says, appreciate the great work. Keep it up. Keep it coming, Chris. Appreciate you, Derek, for tapping in. Jermaine says, oh, no, I was just saying that that's to get the money on Chicago. Okay. So thinking the opposite way. Yeah, money coming in on Chicago is weird to me with them being a home favorite. The Bulls have not been a reliable home favorite this season. Real quick, just going back to that game, I just want to check real quick and see what the Bulls are as a home favorite this season. The Bulls are 9-10 against the spread as a home favorite this season. They've actually failed to cover 3 of their last 4 and 4 of their last 5. And let's just see if they're laying more than 7 points. Or let's just do 6.5. If they're laying more than 6.5, they are 5-3 straight up when they're laying 6.5 points or more, winning by an average of 8 points. They covered against the Wizards. They failed to cover against the Pistons, lost that game outright. Failed to cover against the Raptors, lost that game outright. Covered against the Grizzlies, covered against the Hornets. So yeah, I mean, I guess same tier type teams, but Portland is a little bit healthier, and I think that's important to mention here. All right, let's see. Dustin says, this is my favorite game tonight. Vaughn talks about the Aiden rebounds over 11.5 at -130 on FanDuel. He says everywhere else got it at 12.5 at plus money on Caesars. I like this look, Vaughn. I know you say you parlay Aiden rebounds at 12 with the money line for Boston. That should get there, Vaughn. I like that a lot, especially if Kobe White doesn't play, because that's a lot more misses for the Chicago Bulls. That's already not a great offensive team. Dustin says I got it going under as well, but Jazz winning. He likes the +5.5. Okay. Best of luck to you here. Best of luck, Justin. Will says, what up, though, Chris? He says he took Duncan Robinson 4 threes, -104. He's attempted 12 or more 3 of the last 5 games, and is over this number 3 of 5 games as well. He says the Sixers have been top 10 in 3-point attempts allowed all season. Okay, makes a ton of sense to me. I know that the Heat are shooting them. I just want to check and see what the recent numbers for Philly was before I would bet this. But yeah, I couldn't talk you off. He's been cooking for sure. Vaughn says Wolves got Denver on deck, staying away. May get some props for Sexton. I wonder how teams do when Denver is the next opponent in no rest. Let's look it up real quick, Vaughn. We could do that. So next opponent team equals Nuggets, and next rest equals 0. Nah, hold on, my fault. Let's do. I did that wrong. So let's go. Opponent team equals Nuggets, and rest equals 0. So teams are. What is both? This is playing the Nuggets. So playing the Nuggets. This is for tomorrow. If you're playing the Nuggets, unrested, 3-6 straight up, but 5-3-1 against the spread. I don't know if the numbers come out already or not, but it looks like the Timberwolves are 3.5-point dogs tomorrow with a total of 212.5 is what I'm seeing on my screen right now. Anyway, I'm not sure where that line is available, especially without this game tipping off already yet. But next opponent team equals Nuggets, and yeah, I can't. I'll look a little deeper into it, Vaughn, but I appreciate you bringing this up. This is why I like doing the show. My opinion, not yours, says he got Simons at 8 assists, Mike Conley at 8 assists, Josh Hart at 8 assists. That's a nice little lotto there. He got it at plus 84,120 odds. He said all in great spots. Mike Conley, Anthony Simons, and Josh Hart all with 8 assists today. Estai says 130 people watching, but only 37 likes. Let's get those likes up. It only takes 3 seconds. Appreciate you, Estai. And Futon says he thinks Keontae George hits 3 threes today. I could definitely see that, especially if they get him in a pick and roll with Rudy Gobert. He's not going to come out there. I would agree there. All right, so moving on. Next game. This is a game I'll be on for the next 30 seconds. So we got the Grizzlies. It looks like I talked about this morning, but I don't think those guys are going to be on the injury report. Jared Jackson Jr. and Desmond Bane look like they're rolled in. They'll start Conchar as well, as we get news about Kyle Kuzma being off the injury report for tomorrow. So they'll start Conchar, Gigi Jackson, Santi Aldama, Jared Jackson Jr., and Desmond Bane. Vince Williams Jr. off the bench is a game time decision. Luke Kennard's already been rolled out. Lamar Stevens already been ruled out as well. So, man, this is a difficult game. I kind of feel like the Kings should bounce back. I just don't want to lay this many points with them. Tyus Jones also listed as out for tomorrow. Their Wizards team total probably isn't available, but they probably won't score any points tomorrow, especially with Tyus Jones being out. But anyway, getting back to this game, I feel like the Kings are in a prime bounce back spot. You got them 6 straight home game, coming off a loss as a home dog against the Knicks, where they kind of got beat up. They got beat up pretty badly in that game. And on the Memphis side, we don't really know what this team looks like anymore with Jared Jackson Jr. and Desmond Bane. You can only imagine that it would get better. Sacramento has beat them 3 of the last 4 games and the last 5. I'm sorry, three straight and 4 of the last 5, and both times this season as well. Remember, this game was like right before like Christmas break. Like it was like around the Christmas holiday. And I remember I had Memphis in that game at home, and Sacramento came out and smashed them. So for whatever reason, and this was when Memphis was like healthy. They had Ja Morant. It was one of the reasons why I took Memphis, thinking that they were going to make a run. And they got smoked against the Sacramento Kings. So for whatever reason, Sacramento plays them well. I think looking at Sacramento early may be something. But we know Sacramento as a home favorite, not something that has been profitable on the season. This team does not typically cover these big numbers. as a home favorite? Real quick, let's just look at that. So the Kings is a home favorite overall, just 11-18 against the spread, only covering 37.9% of the time. And if you look at them as a home favorite in their land, let's just say 7 points or more, these are the spots where I feel like they really don't cover. So if they're laying 6.5 or more, just 2-10 against the spread. They actually haven't covered the spread since January the 22nd when they beat the Hawks. They were laying 8.5 and they won that game by what's that? 15? Yeah, they won by 15. Outside of that, they failed to cover 6 games in a row, laying 6.5 points or not. So that number says that Memphis covers the game and Sacramento just gets the win. Sacramento also just 6-6 straight up. So not only do they not cover, they only win half of the time when they're laying 6.5 points at home. Both of these teams have equal rest. This is not a game that I'm super interested in playing. I need to see this Memphis team a little bit more, but Memphis is going to fight to the end. So I think I'll be taking the points with Memphis in this spot, thinking that this 10 number was a tad bit too big with Desmond Bane back and without Sacramento. I think Memphis could be competitive in some of these games now that they do have Desmond Bane back and Jared Jackson Jr. They're not playing with us on the injury report. These guys are not on the injury report. So, yeah, I lean Memphis. I do lean Memphis, even in Sacramento. I lean Memphis here. Let's see what you guys are saying about this one. What up, Rez? Appreciate you for tapping in. Tasha says, all 138, please hit the like button for brother Chris. Appreciate you, Tasha. Daniel says, Memphis first half. Sacramento fits the system as a favorite today, but are 1-6 against the spread and have lost 6 of their last 7 first halves. So I'm on Memphis. Also taking Bane 4 threes at plus 165. Okay. Hey, shout out to you, Daniel. I hope you cash it, bro. Sound like you got some good points. Vaughn says Kings at home coming off a previous home loss. They're 6-1 against the spread and winning the first half by 13. So that conflicts with what Daniel was saying. Kenneth says about to start dropping this play now. He likes Atlanta and LA over 225. He says back-to-back playing the Lakers team, very profitable this season. I talked about this morning. We'll get to that. That's the last game on the board. And appreciate you for tapping in as well, my brother. I hope you cash tonight. Tariq says he took the Memphis plus 11. Why not? And that's the only way I would play this one too. I think Sacramento, I mean, granted, they're a much better team. I don't know if laying 11 points is going to be profitable. It hasn't been profitable. I just gave you guys a number. They're 2-10 against the spread, laying 6.5 points or more. So 2 more games to get to real quick. The next one up, we got the Knicks and the Warriors. We got the Warriors. They are now laying 6.5 points. This morning when I did the show, it was 4.5. And I told you guys, man, I kind of felt like OG Anunoby was hurt. I told you guys that, the beat writer tweeted out before the Sacramento game that he couldn't really lift his arm above his head. And now you see him listed as out. And it was reflected in his shooting too. He shot 0 for 7 in that last game against Sacramento, but he did play some really good defense. Now you get, the Knicks without OG, that team again. Third straight road game for them of a 4-game road trip. They're coming off a win as a dog against the Sacramento Kings. They do play again in Denver on Thursday. I think that this is the letdown spot for the Knicks here. I really, really do. I haven't bet the Sixers, and I don't want to lay 6.5 against the best defense in basketball. If you've been watching the Knicks, I know that OG Anunoby's not going to be playing, but they've been playing pretty good on both. I wouldn't say on both ends, but their defense kind of keeps them in the game. On the Golden State side, you get a clean injury report. First game back home after a 3-game road trip. They're coming off a win as a dog as well against the Lakers, who I think the Lakers probably would have won if Anthony Davis played the second half. And Golden State doesn't have a look-ahead spot at all. They actually host Minnesota on Wednesday. Revenge game here for the Knicks. They did lose 110-99 at Madison Square Garden on February 29th. And this, like I said, 6.5 just seems a little too rich for me. I think maybe I wanted to play Golden State team total to go over. Don't like that the Knicks defense has been so good. I know a lot of that has been OG Anunoby. And the Knicks, I feel like the Knicks schedule has been a little sus, man. I think it's been a little easy. I just want to check it real quick. Let's look at the Knicks real quick. I feel like this was something that just kind of came to top of my mind. Let me just look at the Knicks schedule. I know they got a win against Sacramento, which was a pretty good win. But I also remember them beating up on some cupcakes recently. They beat Portland. They beat the Knicks. I'm sorry, they beat Portland. They beat Philly. Then they lost to Philly. They beat Orlando. And Orlando was the first game that Brunson came back. So since Brunson came back, they're 4-1, straight up 3-1-1 against the spread. and they've actually only been a dog one time since then. So yeah, I would say Golden State needs all these games, of course. So like I said, I can't lay the 6.5 though. I'll probably still be taking the points with the Knicks, especially with the line getting this big. That's the only way I would look at this one. It's probably the 6.5 with the Knicks. No OG Anunoby, I know, but I think that they can keep it close here. I do. Golden State got rebounding issues, and Knicks can probably capitalize in that area. Is what I'm thinking. Steph Curry threes. I talked about that this morning. Above the break three, something the Knicks have been playing a little bit better against, but Steph typically cooks this team. So I like Steph Curry props. I didn't play him, but I'd be looking at his points to go over. Probably look towards his threes as well. I just don't see anybody that's gonna be able to stay in front of him. And the Knicks, if they struggle anywhere on the court, it is at the 3-point line. So those are my takes there. If I said the opposite, Tasha, I'm glad you corrected me. She said you mean Warriors. Anthony says he likes Brunson for 30 and Steph for 30 all day. Both of those guys scored 30 and nobody else has scored all. I could definitely see that. Tasha says Warriors will cover the 6. Tariq says he got in on the -4 very early this morning. Good luck to you, Tariq, on that side. If it was 4, I think I'd take it. 6.5, just man, that's 3 possessions. She says Golden State will hang 120 on them boys tonight with no OG Anunoby in there. Maybe a Warriors team total over. I would need to do a little bit more digging with OG Anunoby on the floor versus off the floor. Michael dropping the Pistons plus 15.5. Tasha says she took the Warriors last night. And Tasha says, hell no, Pistons versus Boston. Don't bet against Boston. She says Golden State actually a top 10 rebounding team. Yeah, they are. But the advanced metrics that I was looking at, let me just show you what I was looking at real quick. She just because you mentioned that. So Golden State offense versus the New York Knicks defense. So as far as rebounding, the Warriors are 5th in offensive rebounding over the last 2 weeks. So you make a valid point there. The Knicks are allowing the second fewest offensive rebounds. I'm sorry, the Knicks are grabbing the second most rebounds. And the Knicks are also they're about middle of the pack as far as opponent offensive rebounds. So they're doing a pretty good job on the boards. It was something else that I looked at. Oh, it's putbacks. That's what it is. So Golden State has actually been top 10 in points scored off miss via the putback opportunities. But the Warriors, the Knicks defense actually plays really, really well against that. Like they do a good job. We know Josh Hart is a good rebounder. Isaiah Hartenstein is a good rebounder. So Knicks doing a really good job of limiting opponents to one shot, then getting out. And I wouldn't say pushing the pace, but they are getting a bunch of rebounds. So that's the one thing that kind of scares me a tad bit in this one. But you make a valid point though. I won't talk you off of that. Vaughn says I like the Knicks to cover the line, but I'm taking that. But if I'm taking that, it means I need Dante to have a good game, and I don't want to bet money on that. Think I can find a better spot on the board. And I would agree. This is not my favorite game either, especially with the spread kind of getting out of hand. Jamie says Boston first half over 59.5, averaging 66 in their last 5. I like that number a lot. That 59.5 seems like a really good number for Boston. JS says took Josh Hart over 26.5 points plus rebounds with no OG. I like it. Tasha says Steph is rejuvenated after missing 3 games. She's on the Warriors. I could see the Warriors. I don't know about the 6.5. Number seems tad big to me. All right, so last game on the board, and the game that I do feel inclined to make a bet. Haven't pulled the trigger yet, but I talked about this one early on the morning show as well. We got the Atlanta Hawks. They will continue to be in LA tonight. They're taking on my Los Angeles Lakers in a game where, let's start with the Atlanta side. You got a team that's on the second leg of a back-to-back. They're coming off a win as a dog. I'm talking about a big win as a dog. This Atlanta team actually beat second leg of a back-to-back, third game in 4 nights as well. They actually lost and didn't cover as a short favorite against the Utah Jazz. Now they're off the win versus the Clippers last night. They won that game. They were 9.5-point dogs and won the game by like 17, 18 points. It's also the 4th game of a 5-game road trip for them as well. The reason why I didn't quite get there on this one, and Tobias Harris is ruled out, so that, Philly is probably going to close as like 3-point dogs now with no Tobias Harris. If you didn't get a chance to get in on Miami, I think it's a really good time to do so. Miami money line is probably still not too juiced. I would, matter of fact, let's go check it out real quick. Let's do some on the board money line shopping. Let's see where we can get a good number real quick. Yeah, you still can get Miami actually a 1.5 point dog still. Sports Illustrated got him as a 1.5 point dog. And I feel like that's disrespectful. Man, I didn't even play Miami. Like I said, I just played the team total. But if I can get Miami plus 1.5, I'm not sure why the line flipped. Did Jimmy Butler get ruled out? Y'all let me know something in the chat. I feel like I'm missing something. Real quick. I might have been missing something because I'm trying to do a show and do all this stuff at the same time. Tobias Harris ruled out. Yeah, that's crazy. I don't see anything about Jimmy being ruled out. Yeah, that line's gonna change. Yeah, it's a plus 1.5 on Sports Illustrated for all my VA and and then Sports Illustrated people. Definitely can get that plus 1.5. Rizza says, so what was I? Oh, I was looking at this Atlanta Hawks and Laker game. So you get the Lakers off of losses as a favorite. 1 day's rest here, so they are the more rested team. Second straight home game of a 4-game homestand, and they all back-to-back losses. I think this Lakers team is gonna come out motivated. Am I laying 9 points with them? Absolutely not. I'm not trusting the Lakers to win a game by margin. Can they? They absolutely can. I do think that they can in this spot. Not the greatest matchup on paper. When you look at how Atlanta's defense has been against the protecting the rim specifically, like they are doing pretty good in that domain, and that's where the Lakers like kind of live. They are top 10 in rim frequency, but the Lakers, and this is what I want to play, the team total. I talked about it. It was 116.5 this morning on Bet365. It's up to 117.5, and I see you can get the 117 at plus money. I do think it's going to be a fast-paced game, man. Atlanta, not the greatest team in frequency as far as stopping opponents in the fast break, and they actually run too. Atlanta runs at the 13th fastest pace in frequency over the last 2 weeks. They're 6th in points allowed. The Lakers don't do a good job of stopping the break either, and they are 20th in points allowed per 100 possessions in offensive transition, and they are doing a pretty good job of limiting pace. But I think this is going to be a spot where the Lakers are going to get out and run. I know LeBron James and Anthony Davis haven't been ruled in yet, but I like the spot here for the Lakers. I think that they do have some advantages across the board. And the Lakers, don't look now, they've actually been the number 2 rated offense behind the Boston Celtics over the last 2 weeks. And point score per 100 possessions, averaging almost 122. They're first in effective field goal percentage. Who would have thought the Lakers are shooting 60.5% effective field goal percentage over the last 2 weeks? 4th in free throw rate, which is also something that Atlanta really struggles. Atlanta's actually fouling at the 3rd highest rate since the All-Star, since about 2 weeks ago as well. So yeah, the Lakers should live at the free throw line. They should live in the paint. They should try to get out and run the fast break. And I looked at a trend as well, just to kind of put the spot in perspective. I looked at teams that were coming off a win as a dog, unrested, and then they were still a road dog on the 3rd game in 4 nights, and also at least their 4th game of a road trip. And those teams are giving up a ton of points. I think the trend favors towards the over. I'm not sure if I want to trust the Atlanta team to score, even though the Lakers have been giving up points. The Lakers defense is trash. They're 24th in points allowed per 100 possessions over the last 2 weeks, 22nd in opponent effective field goal percentage, not forcing any turnovers, the 2nd fewest over that time frame. So I think Atlanta should be able to score here. Bogdanovich, Jalen Johnson, of course, DeJounte Murray, DeAndre Hunter. They got guys that could be able to score, but I like Atlanta team total to go over a little bit more. So that's what I'm gonna play. I haven't played it yet, haven't given it out, but team total is 117.5 for the Lakers, and I do think it's a game they're gonna continue to score, taking advantage of the Atlanta team on the second leg of a back-to-back 3rd game in 4 nights, and a team that won last night as a dog. So give me the Lakers team total, staying away from the spread, but I like that team total over 117.5 here. Let's see what you guys are saying here. Tasha says, oh man, Vaughn says Tobias Harris ruled out of It Matters to anyone. I think it does matter, man. The numbers with Tobias on the floor versus off. He's an offensive player and a defensive player for that team. Tasha says no, not really. She says not really. Tobias is trash. um, Riz says they took the game away on DK. Riz, this is what I always say about having multiple sports books, man. Not sure what state you're in, but you got to download the sports books that move the slowest. You have to. It's an absolute must. Absolute must. You got to get the Unibets of the world, the Sports Illustrators of the world. I can't give you all of them, but you got to get the slow sports books, the ones that move super slow. Tasha says she's glad she got in last night at +3.5. Big Dog, thank you for sharing this. She says Jimmy is still game time decision. Tasha says she got the 116.5. I could not talk you off. Love that play, Tasha. Probably should have just locked it in this morning. I know you were on the morning show when I talked about liking it. I think you did as well. Vaughn says he liked Clint Capella rebounds over 10.5 here. He's averaging 13 a game over his last 5, 21.8 rebound chances per game. And the Lakers keep it at least one big in the game, so he'll be able to stay near the rim in his comfort zone. And I would agree with this. If it's not Anthony Davis, it'll be Jackson Hayes. So yeah, this makes a lot of sense. Jose said, do you like the full game over, Chris? I do like the full game over, Jose. I'm choosing to play the Lakers team total to go over 117.5. But like I said, the Lakers giving up 119.6 points per 100 possessions over the last 24 games. And the Lakers, when they play a team on the second leg of a back-to-back, I remember them playing against the Wizards on the Wizards were on the second leg of a back-to-back after playing against the Clippers. And the Lakers just don't play a lot of defense in that spot. So I mean, granted, the defense already isn't good. So yeah, I like this team to go. I like the Lakers total a little bit more than Atlanta, but I couldn't talk you off including Atlanta in it as well. Tasha says Bet Rivers has Miami +1.5 as well. And what up to my guy ChrisBeCappinn? What up, Ronald? Futon says Hawks team total over. He likes the 107.5 here. He thinks Atlanta does contribute. And she says Halliburton is 17 for 59 from 3 since the All-Star break. I did see that he was struggling. She appreciates you for mentioning that. I did see that Halliburton had been struggling from 3. Could be a look towards Cleveland, but like I said, it's not a game that I'm interested in betting at all. These are the top looks, in my opinion, on the board for today. This Philly game is, of course, gone now. But this is crazy. So Sports Illustrated still got Miami at +1.5, even though the other books have all shifted to a favorite, I want to say. Let me just double check. I feel like I'm missing something here. Yeah, Miami is now. Philly has shifted back to a 1.5 point favorite. Or am I tripping? Yeah, Philly has shifted back to a 1.5 point favorite. Even though Miami has shifted to a 1.5 point favorite, the total hasn't moved. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so Philly is still a 1.5 point favorite. I thought I saw it all the way shift. I'm so confused over here. Tariq says he got a 2-teamer, the Warriors and the Lakers. Tim says Butler is still game time decision. Rizzo said he got +1.5 on DraftKings. And Vaughn says he saw a tweet that said Halliburton 90 days, a 90-day trial as a superstar is passed. He says, I love Holly, but that was funny as hell. I hope he can get healthy. Don't look the same as he doesn't look as explosive as he once was. And I would agree there. Does feel like he's kind of tailed off just a little, but the others have stepped up. I will say that. Indiana's still playing some really good basketball right now. And that's without Ben Mathurin as well. Ben Mathurin is done for the season. Last one. Chris Mead says Miami money line, Jazz +6.5, Washington Capitals money line, and the Buffalo. He likes Buffalo on the money line as well. Terry Rozier is terrible on back-to-back, she said. We'll see how it goes. Like I said, I took the under. I took the under there. All right, and that's all I got, man. If I don't know if it's anybody on Twitter that got plays that they want to share, questions they want to ask, send them to me. As always, I got some resources for you guys, just kind of letting you guys know what I'm looking at to handicap the games. And then yeah, that's it for today. Also, for tomorrow, I did already look at the card for tomorrow. It's a lot of spots for favorites tomorrow. Orlando already at 12.5 point favorites against the Charlotte team. New Orleans already up to 7.5 against Brooklyn. Brooklyn first game back home off a 6-game road trip, and they'll be off an overtime game against San Antonio. San Antonio also 7.5 point dogs against Dallas tomorrow, and they're also coming off the overtime game as well. And then I do see Denver as 4-point favorites now against the Minnesota Timberwolves with a total of 213.5. That Houston line is only 5.5 right now with Kyle Kuzma ruled in. The total's 229.5. Yeah, I got to get to work, man. It's only a 5-game card for tomorrow. So, yeah. Let's see what else we got in here. I don't think it got anything to do with that, Tony. I think it's just a back-to-back here. He says maybe because they barely beat Detroit. I don't think so. RC says you got to put my site on that resource list soon, Chris. Yeah, you got to. Oh, you did send it to me. Yeah, I'll put it up there. I don't mind. RC got a shout out to my guy ChrisBeCappinn, man. Y'all follow him on Twitter if y'all haven't already. He got a great resource list. Not a resource list. I'm sorry. He got a great handicapping one-stop shop where you can look at trends. Situational spots. He got everything on his, and it's nice, man. It's really, really nice. So shout out to RC. Definitely check him out. I don't think he dropped it completely yet though, so definitely check RC out if you guys haven't. I think he got a glimpse of it on his website, on his Twitter page. You'll find it useful for sure. Futon, good luck to you as well, my brother. Douglas says, I see kicks in the back, Chris. What's your favorite J's? My favorite J's, and I got to get out of here, man. I'm not talking about Jordans. My favorite J's are 12s. Like the 11s, but I love 12s. 12s are comfortable. They're much more comfortable than the 11s to me. And it's just something about the flu games and the taxis. And yeah, I like the 12s myself. I like 1s. I like 3s. But yeah, 12s are my favorite. And 7s. I do like 7s. I love 7s. 7s as well. 7s and 6s. So that's pretty much all the numbers. But 12, 6s, and 7s probably my favorite. Probably my favorite, man. The ones I got the most of, the ones that's the most comfortable on my feet. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I got. Real quick before we get off here, man, my guy Finesse sent me a request. Finesse, what's going on, my brother? How you doing?
I didn't know you was about to get off.
No. I was just kind of clearing up, man. But we got time. What up?
Yeah, my phone was good, bro. It's been too long. My brother.
For sure, man. Hope everything's good, bro. Hope all well with you, man, too.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I took today off, but that shit don't exist for me. I still find myself looking at the games and shit like that. So I'll be really quick. I won't go, too in depth as I usually do. Domantas Sabonis, rebounds and assists. I got it at 21.5. He's proven that he can dominate versus his team. He's played them twice. One of those times, Grizzlies were mostly healthy. Bane, Ja, Triple J in there. Triple J is going to be in there tonight. I think he can have a day as long as the game is somewhat close. Which hopefully, Triple J and Bane being back, hopefully it is. I know it's a double-digit spread. But I think he can absolutely grab on the boards and do enough assists in the rock to easily cover that. I think, again, triple-double watch. And then Halliburton, 10.5 assists. Another guy has proven to, even against the tough Cleveland defense, has proven that he can still cover this line, over this line of 3 straight versus the Cavs. Surprisingly over the last, not a huge sample size, but over the last 6-7 games, obviously, partly to do with the injuries. Cleveland has not been an elite defense, bottom half of the league in terms of defensive rating and assists per game allowed. And Tyrese has proven to be somewhat matchup proof. So, as long as his numbers kind of hanging around there, potential assists is still through the roof. Coming off a down game versus the Nets, who are infamous for limited assists, especially the guards. I think he gets right back to it. I think, 12, 13 assists for him tonight versus Cleveland. So, 1 assist play, a little rebound assist play for Sabonis, and that's it, bro. I appreciate you. And yeah, shout out my man RC. I know he working like a dog behind the scenes to get that website popping. So shout out to him. And yeah, definitely look out for that. I appreciate you guys.
Absolutely, Finesse. Shout out to you as well, my brother. And yeah, like you said, shout out to RC. As we get breaking news that Jimmy Butler is also ruled out, I still feel like Miami can win the game. We'll see what happens though. Definitely thought that Jimmy probably was going to play, but either way, I like that team total under. Billy, I think for Miami, they got to rely a little bit more on their defense now without Jimmy, as they did yesterday against Detroit. So, and Finesse made some excellent points, and that's one of the things that kind of talked me off, man. Cleveland's defense is not nearly as good without those guys. Defensively, they're middle of the pack over the last 2 weeks in points scored, effective field goal percentage, turnover percentage, opponent offensive rebounding rate. And they are doing a pretty good job of keeping teams off the free throw line. But Indiana offense is top 10 in all of those categories, averaging 121 points per 100 possessions, which is number 4, 10th in effective field goal percentage, turning the ball over at the 3rd fewest rate, 2nd in getting to the free throw line as well. They're just not doing a good job of offensive rebounding the ball. But outside of that, I mean, they're playing pretty good. And Indiana's also been the 5th best defensive team over the last 2 weeks, only giving up 110 points per 100 possessions. That was another thing that kind of kept me off of this one, because Cleveland, I think, going to struggle offensively, which is why we see such a low total. But I also think, they're going to struggle defensively if you got Gorgeous Niang out there trying to guard somebody. So those are just my thoughts, man. Like I said, it's a 5-game card for tomorrow. If you like the favorites, you might want to jump on them early, because these lines are going to move. It's going to be some 6.5 and some 7.5. That's going to be 9.5 and 10.5 tomorrow when you wake up. So definitely want to do your work early, man. I would recommend doing it before the games actually start, especially if you know the injury reports are clear. So that's all I got for you guys, man. I always appreciate everybody for tapping in. The community is great. I'm grateful for it. And I'll be back tomorrow, man. Do a morning show as always. Tap in with me there. Like the video on the way out if you guys could. It'd be helpful. Subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't. And definitely turn the notification bell on so you guys know when I go live. That's all I got for today. I'll catch you guys tomorrow, man. Best of luck on all your action for today. I'm out.